There is a timeless irony to the Victorian alpine country that envelops you from the moment the new day dawns. Because here in the Dart River Valley, along the Gibbo Range Road, about 3 hours' drive from the nearest town of Omeo, you can't help but wonder how a place that has witnessed so much of the state's wildest gold rush history can wake up feeling so unspoilt.
Thankfully, a very comfortable night's sleep. That's the thing about camping, isn't it? You're only ever going to be as comfortable as you're prepared to be. You might just need a bedroll and a sleeping bag, but why stop there? Why not go for the whole kitchen with fridge? Orange juice, Andrew?
Yeah, thanks, David.
When it comes to exploring northeastern Victoria's backcountry, the quality of the area's campsites are a massive part of the experience. Sites like Zulu Creek here require no permits, and best of all, there are no fees. So a solid four-wheel drive camper is vital if you are to get the most out of the adventure. I've got a couple of days set aside to explore the Dart River region. And with local historian Andrew Swift as my guide, two things are guaranteed. The tracks we'll drive are deserted, and we are never far from the big picture.
Gee,
Look at that, David.
never short of the big vista around here. So where are we here?
We're up on the high plains. We've got the Upper Dargo Valley here, Mount Hotham over there, Dinner Plain up in the hills behind us, and we've just got this magnificent rolling hill of the Victorian Eastern Ranges.
So this is as high as you get in Victoria, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah, you don't get much higher than this, not at least with vehicles anyway.
Victoria's high country was virtually unexplored before the discovery of gold in 1850. But the economic and cultural forces unleashed in that rush to riches laid down the foundations of present-day Victoria. The Victorian Alpine country is one of the most spectacular and accessible 4x4 destinations in Australia, which makes the driving along tracks like the Gibbo Range Road a rewarding mix of the chilled and the challenging.
Now, we've got a bit of a rough old steep descent here, Dave, so what we might do is I'll just head off slowly and first in low, and I'll just be tickling my brakes, and you just give us a little bit of space behind me, and then we'll follow through. All right, Dave, here we go.
Holy smoke. He has just disappeared on a 90-degree angle.
This is an old mining track that heads down into a mining area called the Glen Dart. So if we'd been travelling along here, say 120 years ago, we'd be passing miners and maybe the odd bullock team bringing in mining machinery.
This terrain is challenging enough on a dry, warm summer's day with a modern four-wheel drive to do the hard yards, but cast your mind back to the 1850s and the prospect of hauling tons of mining equipment through the rain and snow, and you get an idea of just how tough the living was out here.
How old is this? When would they have brought this in?
This was brought in 1884.
Down here in this forgotten little gully, alone with its ghosts, is the Glen Dart Gold Battery. This boiler and engine are remnants of the kind of mine workings found right throughout the Victorian high country, rusted echoes of the great gold adventure that once took place here.
See, something like this would weigh upwards of 5 tonne, and you can see it's cast in two sections here.
Oh, Yeah.
So that it's split down the middle so that they can fit it onto your standard bullock wagon. And then there would have been teams of bullocks, upwards of dozens and dozens of bullocks, hauling this up the range, and then carefully they counted lowered it down, you know, by a system of pulleys and so on. Madness.
So what would have been going on here? How many people would have been living down here?
Well, in this tight stretch of the valley, which is no more than a couple of k's long, there would have been probably a couple of hundred blokes here at the peak time. And there was a hotel, a school, a general store.
And when was it all over here?
All over, probably by the 1890s.
It's easy to discount the Australian bush as just another cliche until you get out in it like this. And these are the very ranges. This is the bush that was home to the hard men and women that so inspired the likes of Banjo Patterson. And he wrote about it in the Bulletin in 1890. Talking about these ranges, he was saying they're torn and rugged battlements on high, where the air is clear as crystal and the white stars fairly blaze at midnight in the cold and frosty sky.
We don't seem to have a Patterson these days, do we? They are really indicative, aren't they, of the bush, you know? They're the words that really sum it up, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a way of life that's now gone, Dave.
Yeah.
Coming up next, a wild alpine ride on two wheels.